Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Leather Lounge. I'm your host, Sean Longstreet, and today we're talking to Bhargav Kacharla, CEO of BitArch. And BitArch is an omni-chain bridge aggregator that connects Bitcoin, the Bitcoin ecosystem, to other ecosystems, Ethereum, Solana, Cosmos, and now Stacks. And this allows users to seamlessly transfer from BRC20s around Bitcoin L2s, rollups, ordinals, runes, taproot assets, and everything on Stacks. So BitArch ensures efficiency, and it's all secure. And we're going to talk about interoperability here. So I'm super excited to welcome Bhargav to the show because I want to learn about what it's like building on Bitcoin, what brought him into the ecosystem, get his insights about the current crypto landscape, and most of all, to learn how Leather Wallet users can make the most out of BitArch. So welcome, Bhargav, to the show.
Yeah, hi Sean. Thanks for having me in the show.
Yeah, great. I'm so glad to have you here. So, I gave you a real quick intro about what BitArch does. I want to learn more about what brought you into the ecosystem, what you're excited about right now. But if you could, in your own words, just tell everyone here what BitArch is.
BitArch is like omnichain liquidity layer for the Bitcoin ecosystem. So if you see, the Bitcoin ecosystem is evolving daily with a lot of L2s coming into the space. So with the launch of many L2s, there will be many protocols will be building on these L2s. So obviously, when many applications are built on these L2s, they people will be looking to onboard other ecosystems to their platforms, to their protocols. So there is a gap in the Bitcoin ecosystem. So we want to bridge that gap by building an omnichain liquidity layer. So protocols, any protocol building on Bitcoin, they can onboard the Cosmos, Solana, or Ethereum ecosystem. They can bring that users to the Bitcoin protocols. So we want to uh, build that seamless cross-chain swapping experience for the uh, builders or users in the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let's start with how you got into the ecosystem. What's your background? What was your first touch with Bitcoin or crypto, and how did you end up being CEO of BitArch and building this out?
Yeah, so I've been building products since 9 years. So I've been building some scalable products for various customers. I've worked on multiple companies. So
Yeah,
then five
can I
years
ask
back,
real quick? I'm really curious. What were those other companies like, and then how did what you were doing with them enable you to gain the necessary skills to be where you are now? What were those companies like?
yeah, so those were mainly in the Web2 space, like OpenText, Rakuten, and uh, TCS. So we were building some exciting products over there for multiple customers. Starting with we are a .NET. I'm a C# developer. Started my career with that. So we were building some multiple products for the customers. Then I started moving on to the Rakuten, where I built data lake, data platform for handling petabytes of data for Rakuten mobile department. So then I slowly started learning about the blockchain space. So obviously, I started with trading some cryptocurrency. Obviously, Bitcoin was booming around 2020. That was a bull market. So I got fascinated with this technology and started learning more about the in and outs of this technology. So the I then we tied up. I tied up with couple of my friends and started building some protocols in the DeFi space. So during that time, DeFi options was crazy. Like in Web2 space, options were trading in the crypto like crazy with huge volume. We want to build that on chain with the DeFi options. So we built a decentralized options trading protocol using the liquidity pool concept, where liquidity pools are the option writers and the option buyers can trade the options. So we built that and deployed in multiple blockchains like Avalanche and BNB chain. Then that's where I we explored the derivative ecosystem at that time. It was booming in the crypto space. Then I moved on to the prediction markets where we built some decentralized crypto predictions market and real time real time events predictions like how poly market works. So we build these prediction markets. People can predict on launch system how the crypto prices move in the next 5 seconds or 10 seconds. So people can actually predict in those rounds and gain some profits. Similarly, it's not we just didn't limit the prediction markets to crypto assets. We moved on to the commodities as well as stocks. So we moved the stocks predictions to on chain. That no one has done it. We were the first one doing that at that time. And then real time events also. Users can predict what's happening in the sports and what's happening in the politics. They can predict those events. Then slowly, that was my time with building the prediction markets. Then I slowly moved on to uh, what's happening in the Bitcoin ecosystem from the last 1 year. Uh, there are a lot of innovations with the launch of ordinals and runes recently. So I have been exploring the Bitcoin ecosystem slowly. What kind of innovation is happening in the L2 space, and with the launch of new L2s like Stacks, Merlin, Bitlayer, Bitcoin Network. So there a lot of L2s are being launched, but the developer ecosystem is still need a lot of improvement. So there is I saw that gap. So we want to build this product somehow so that we want to make a simplified user experience when it comes to cross-chain swaps from other ecosystems to Bitcoin. Even within the Bitcoin, there are a lot of L2s moving. There are a lot of L2s. So the liquidity movement should be seamless between these L2s when developer builds some products on these L2s. So that's where the idea of BitArch came into picture, where we want to build the build this product somehow and provide users and developers uh, a, a wonderful product or a seamless product for building the chain agnostic applications. Yeah.
That's a rich and fascinating background. I can see how that transition from Web 2 to Web 3 primed you for this. I want to ask you, okay, so when people ask you about like they're hearing these terms Web 2 versus Web 3 for the first time, how do you answer that question? How do you explain how this era of the Web 3 is different from Web 2?
Yeah, it is completely different when it comes to Web3. It provides you a lot of opportunities. It's like an open ecosystem. uh, you can build anything you want. You don't have any restrictions over there compared to Web2 space. But the it's like we are making the finance decentralized. So a lot of innovation and a lot of technicalities will be coming into picture in Web3, just like Web2.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But then there's new challenges too. Like you can build anything, but everyone is building anything. So tell us about before we get like on the technical side, which I'm curious about. What's it like when you have that idea? You want to build out this thing called BitArch. How do you go for market space here? How do you stand out? Because there's a lot of people building out here. There's a lot of amazing builders with great innovative ideas, and then they're executing. So how do you grow something like this?
Yeah. When it comes to Bitcoin, right? There are still a lot of developers are coming into this space. This developer ecosystem still needs a lot of improvement because currently, uh, you, there are builders only on EVM chains, basically on Ethereum or Solana. A Bitcoin developer ecosystem is still improving. Also, I see a lot of traction over here, and the next couple of months, it will be like. There'll be more ecosystem, there'll be more developers here compared to Solana. That is for sure. So when it comes to competition, uh, obviously there are very good protocols will be coming into the ecosystem, but what matters is which one is giving the seamless experience to the users. That's what we want to build. We don't want to build a complex product. We want to build a simple product but provide a seamless cross chain experience for the users.
Okay, that leads me to a good question. So then how do you prioritize your partners? Because like we mentioned, there are a lot of L2s. And I know last week someone sent out a tweet and they said, I've been shilled 50 L2s on Bitcoin. Ask me anything. Like right now, building on Bitcoin is obviously huge. And there's a lot of players who have been around for a while. There's a lot of established protocols. But then a lot of other people who are coming in new with, a new flashy L2. So how do you go about prioritizing and choosing, partnerships, and how can people be knowledgeable and aware of the the best L2s and even greater in the ecosystem, like the best products out there right now?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. So obviously, there are a lot of L2s coming up, and people will be like confused which L2 to use. So my our main priority is like focusing on the developer ecosystem in that L2. Uh, uh, Even though there are multiple L2s, the only few sustain which have good developer ecosystem and a good community. uh, that's where we are focusing on, like stacks. If you see that, that's a good ecosystem, so we are focusing on adding our support for the stacks. So for our main approach is focusing on the developer ecosystem, then the kind of protocols, the ecosystem projects in that L2s, because our main agenda is like integrating with these protocols which has good developer ecosystem. So that's our main priority. Whenever we choose any L2, we focus on the developer ecosystem and the community, because that's what we get in return as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's got to have like this trifecta, right? Where the tech has to make sense, the team building has to make sense, and there has to be an ecosystem. Like, to use the analogy of, fertile soil. You don't want to go planting a garden somewhere where there's not good soil. So you have to find all three of those things.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit of let's get into the weeds here so I can understand like the tech behind it. So right now it seems like the problem that you're solving is people are looking for interoperability. They want to be able to transfer things either from or to Bitcoin for various reasons. Like, fees are going to be higher and higher on the L1. So they want to go to L2. Maybe they started in another ecosystem from Ethereum, Solana, and now they want to bridge back to Bitcoin. So before before we talk about like the tech involved in making that happen, can you tell us like the use cases? Like what problem is it solving to be able to have this interoperability between all chains?
Yeah. So our main solution is not just interoperability, providing a seamless interoperability. We want to provide a simplified user experience for cross-chain swaps. Our main use case is not just for users. Uh, we want to build it for the developers. We want to build it for the protocols, and we want to build it for the wallets. So whenever any protocol gets developed in any L2s, obviously the onboarding of the users is a bit concern. When there are multiple L2s, liquidity gets fragmented, and onboarding the users is a main concern. We want to solve that for each protocol. Uh, so, uh, so first step is just provide the uh, swapping experience, smooth swapping experience. Then provide these protocols the good infrastructure with our SDK. So our SDK provides that. When it comes to different L2s, right, the users needs to again download different wallets. So that is also a different concern when it comes to onboarding the users. Uh, when user is concerned about the protocol, he should not be worried about which chain he is in or which wallet he is using. He just needs to use his funds in that protocol. So we are looking to abstract that main process, so that users shouldn't be worried about what chain is using and what wallet he is using and what native token he is using for the paying gas to transact in that blockchain. So that's our main use case. We want to build this cross-chain swapping experience with the chain abstraction. We want to abstract all these things to provide a simplified user experience.
Okay, yeah. Let me talk about abstraction again. What is abstraction for people who haven't heard about that before? And why is that important for the growth of the ecosystem and inviting more and more people in?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, so when it comes to L2s, right, liquidity gets fragmented. As a user, what I need to be worried is, as a non-tech guy, he shouldn't be worried about, okay, what blockchain I'm using, what are the technicalities of the blockchain, what is the native token I need to use for transacting, and what is the wallet I need to use to connect to that protocol. So this actually hinders the onboarding of the users to any L2 ecosystem or any protocol in that L2 in that L, in that blockchain network. So all users needs to care about just get to that protocol and use that application. So what protocols needs to handle is not just about the working of the protocol. They also need to worry about the onboarding of the users. They need to make uh, onboarding very easy so that users can use their product. So that's where we will be providing our abstraction SDK, where all these protocols in the different networks in the Bitcoin, they can use this. So users can actually interact from one blockchain network in the Bitcoin to other Bitcoin network. It can be L2 or L3 or L1.
Yeah, that seems really important for anyone coming in, because there's the one thing that we were talking about, especially in one of our spaces yesterday, is that people have different ways of getting to the Bitcoin ecosystem. Like, there's a phrase, I'm sure you've heard it, like all roads lead to Bitcoin. Some people come in because of maybe it's like looking for number go up technology. They find like Ethereum or Solana is the next best thing, and then they're doing more education. Excuse me. And then for a lot of other people, they start to learn more about Bitcoin, and then they realize like, oh, okay, I want to be bridging things to Bitcoin. Or maybe they start on Bitcoin and they realize like there's other things happening elsewhere that I want to go to. So I see so much value in the interoperability and the abstraction. Let me ask you now about the logistics between the logistics of interoperability, because that's going to require bridging, right? And I know there have been so many bridge hacks, and instead of like the point of failure, if you hold your own keys with Bitcoin, like you are the point of failure. Like you could get, if someone gets your seed phrase, like that's the only way to get in, right? But with a lot of these bridges, there are other ways that people can lose their funds. They can accidentally sign into a wrong website. So how do you protect users in a trustless, or at least a trust minimized way, when it comes to building bridges and interoperability?
Yeah. Uh, so the security is obviously an important aspect when building these products, and we are building in a truly decentralized blockchain network, which has the supremacy since a decade, right? More than a decade. Bitcoin is a completely decentralized network. We actually do build this chain abstraction, keeping the security in mind. Uh, we our infra is completely decentralized. We obviously, when it comes to bridge hacks, right, most of the hacks happen because of the single point of failure or the C phrase hack. But we consider a lot of things into the security when it comes to bridging assets. So obviously, currently we do partner with the existing bridges, which do the cross-chain swaps, and whatever bridges we have actually integrated with, they are completely truly decentralized. There is no single point of failure. They are not managing the keys. They are completely decentralized. So we don't partner with anyone who with the less security aspects. Obviously, security is one thing. We do partner with highly secured decentralized bridges in any ecosystem, either in Cosmos or Ethereum or in Solana. We have partnered with good ecosystems over there, good bridges over there, uh, like Chainflip, Dbridge, and Squidwater. and we are partnering with good bridges in the Bitcoin ecosystem like Alex as well for onboarding the stacks, supporting the stacks cross-chain swaps.
Okay, nice. Well, how do you incentivize decentralization? How do you plan for that and build that out for your platform? What are the logistics of that? How do you make that happen?
Yeah, obviously, when it comes to decentralization, we need to incentivize the operators, whatever, whoever is running the uh, cross-chain infrastructure, right?
Right.
So we do provide that with along with the fees for completing the order, for completing the cross-chain swap. For that, we need to have the liquidity. We also maintain that liquidity with these executors as well. So we do that.
Well, that's so curious. So I'm wondering, like, if anyone in the ecosystem wants to contribute to the decentralization and then take advantage of these incentives, I mean, what's it like if you had someone say, like, I want to contribute to the decentralization? How do I do that?
Yeah, that's where we want to build an open
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
infrastructure, not just with 4 to 5 executors or validators. When it comes to cross-chain infrastructure, the bridging has evolved quite a lot from liquidity pools to multi-sig wallets, and then now cross-chain intents, right? Decentralized intent, decentralized infrastructure, decentralized executors, or decentralized resolvers is the next big thing. So when you open this market to all, when this infrastructure is open to all, then many validators will come into participating in this infrastructure, which who will get incentivized in one way or the other, either through the fees for providing the liquidity or or faster execution of the cross-chain swaps.
Good. All right. I'm not going to ask you anymore. Thanks for the good clarifications on the decentralization and interoperability. I'm always curious about that, so thanks for explaining that. Well, what are some of the roadblocks that you have had to come across recently, or what are the current roadblocks that you are personally blocked by, or like just in the general ecosystem, in the DeFi ecosystem, crypto ecosystem? What are the biggest roadblocks?
So, especially in the Bitcoin ecosystem, right? The developer ecosystem is still not evolved. It needs a lot of improvement. So that's a currently since we are developing further protocols, that is a bit of concern because there are not many protocols in multiple L2s, because currently if you see prominent L2s are building that when it where our product is more about the liquidity fragmentation across multiple L2s. When there are more products built on multiple L2s, then the use case of our product will be more. Currently, I see only a couple of L2s being popular on onboarding the Bitcoin projects or Bitcoin protocols. So that's a blocker for us, and we want to expand it to multiple L2s. L2s. For that, multiple projects should be built on Bitcoin ecosystem. So I want to welcome other ecosystem projects to build on the Bitcoin, because this is where the truly decentralized uh, network is. And I see a lot of scope for developers here for scaling the Bitcoin network. This is still early stages of the Bitcoin, where Ethereum was earlier, because the programmability has come into picture very recently. And not just EVM, right? Here we have many virtual machines being built on not just on Solidity. People are using many programming languages. If you see Stacks, Clarity, so a lot of innovation is happening. People are not just limited to limitations of Solidity. They are building new programming languages for scaling the Bitcoin network. When you see other multiple Bitcoin networks, right? If you see multiple languages are being developed, that's also a bit of concern. But hopefully, in the coming weeks or coming years, it will be easy for developers building the protocols of this ecosystem.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What are your thoughts on this concept for Bitcoin L1, ossification versus innovation? How should Bitcoin Core evolve, change, if at all? Where should the innovation be happening? What's your thought on innovation versus sedimentation or ossification of the Bitcoin L1?
So innovation should obviously happen on the L2s. If you see L1, there are transactions are taking a lot of time. Uh, if we need to scale the Bitcoin network, we need a lot of L2s, and products should be built on the L2s. So if you innovation won't happen in the L1. So security of the L1 can be used to build these L2s.
Yeah, I hear that. That resonates with me personally. That makes a lot of sense, and I hear Munib articulate that in a similar way. Let me ask you this: so who do you look to? Who do you think is innovating in this space? Either individuals or other companies. Who are the leaders that inspire you and bring about like innovative ideas?
Yeah, when it comes to Bitcoin, right, the uh, uh, creator of the ordinals and runes,
Kate.
and the founder of stacks, because when bringing an ERC20 type of tokens to the Bitcoin network, or a ERC 721 types of tokens to the Bitcoin network, is actually opens innovations to a large extent. You can build tokens just like uh, Ethereum, the ERC20 tokens in the Ethereum, and NFTs. You can mint the NFTs just like how we are building in the Solana or, and Ethereum ecosystem, and you can build some meme coins. So that has opened a lot of ecosystem. That has opened lot of opportunities for innovation in the Bitcoin ecosystem, and lot of users also got onboarded from the ecosystem. They want to explore, okay, what is this new token type and what is this new token standards? Let me try this out, or let me try trade these tokens and get some money. So I personally feel that the founder innovator of the runes and ordinals, uh, I inspire him a lot. Then the stacks co-founder, I follow him a lot, and see what's happening in the stacks ecosystem. Uh, I yeah, I follow him a lot.
That's good. Yeah, Casey Rotomore and Munib, definitely two of the most important and innovative thought leaders in the space for sure.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this then. There's a lot of people who are passionate about this space. They want to contribute. One thing that I know Brandon, thanks for listening in. Brandon has a show every Friday called Good for Bitcoin. And one point that he makes is that you don't have to be a developer or a coder to build on Bitcoin. There are so many ways that people can contribute and then follow their passions in this space that is so nascent, so new, so innovative, so important for the world. In your experience and words, what are different ways that people can contribute to the space and make a difference, even if they're not coders?
Yeah, even if they are not coders, they can they can contribute in many ways. Uh, this ecosystem is not just for techies or developers. Even the non-techies, they can, uh, who are focused on ecosystem, building the ecosystem or building the communities for the protocol, who likes to meet new people or connecting to new people. There are a lot of opportunities for those kind of guys in this space, because this space doesn't run mainly about the techies or developers. Non-tech guys can communicate with other protocols. They can host some parties, so they can get connected to other protocols. That's how this ecosystem goes. So I encourage non-tech guys also get onboarded to this space and explore this space and get connected to new people and build their community and build their profile in this space by attending the community building programs.
Well, so now on the like the developer and the coding side, you mentioned earlier that you've seen a need for just developers in on every layer. Like every layer just needs more developers. What do you think are so for anyone listening who does have experience either in coding or developing, and they're wondering what their next steps are and how they can maximize their efficiency in the space? What's your recommendation? Is it like getting a broad-based understanding of multiple chains? Is it becoming an expert of like two so that they can like learn how to build bridges? Is it niching down into one? What's your recommendation for them?
You need to work on multiple things. You can't just limit your knowledge to just one thing or just one network. You need to be a jack of all trades. At least you need to know some knowledge in at least some knowledge in any of these things. That's how you grow. You get connected to other people, or that's how you get connected to other protocols, or what they are building and what they are doing, what they are innovating. That's how you grow your ecosystem. That's how you build your product as well.
That's really sound advice. Yeah, that's valuable. I don't know that it's that answer is intuitive to me because I know there's really value in going deep and getting really good at one thing. But I can also, on the other hand, see the value of being a jack of all trades, being nimble, being able to adopt things quickly. So that's great advice. Great advice. Well, then let me zoom out a little bit more and ask you, what are you excited about right now in the crypto ecosystem, in Bitcoin, in general? I mean, maybe even outside of it. What's got you excited right now?
Yeah, for now, I am more focused on what's the next innovation. Even I'm figuring out. So the current innovation, what's happening is around the new L2s are coming up, and the chain abstraction thing is a good thing. A lot of protocols are focusing on this aspect, but none of them are completely executing correctly. When it comes to chain abstraction, right? You just don't need to abstract everything whatever user sees. You need to focus on providing the simplified experience for the users. Users don't need to have multiple wallets for interacting with multiple chains. Focus on that chain abstraction. Obviously, the AI thing also, building the AI agents on the crypto space. That is also one more thing happening. I need to see what innovation brings to this ecosystem. AI agents they can just automatically do the swaps when you tell the AI agent like ChatGPT, uh, just do a cross-chain swap from one chain to other chain using this. Then it can provide a few recommendations. Okay, these are the existing features uh, providing a giving a best codes and faster speeds. Then if you click the confirm, then automatically the cross-chain swap gets executed. So that's the kind of innovation I want to see in the crypto space as well, where the AI meets the crypto. So I'm pretty much excited about that space.
Yeah, and I can see how that's really important and necessary for adoption too. You know, when I go to print something on the computer, I'm not aware of like everything happening under the hood. I know that maybe printing is a horrible example because it seems like printers are always breaking. But when it comes to the internet, you know, I don't know TCP/IP and HTTP. I'm not an expert in all those things. I just know that this is a product that I can use in a certain way. So it's become so seamless. And I'm curious what you think what the ecosystem, what the user experience is going to be like in 1 year and in 5 years.
Yeah, in 5 years, there'll be many blockchains coming into picture, but the user experience will definitely change. That is definitely for sure. If you see what blockchain situation or Web3 products were earlier and now how they are doing. The main focus is on the UX side. So that UX has changed a lot. Uh, the products whichever have been built a couple of years back and now they have completely changed the user onboarding experience. There are multiple wallets being developed which will abstract the things. There are multi-chain wallets being developed so that you don't need to have each wallet for each chain. And there are account abstraction came into picture in the blockchain space where you don't need to have the wallet itself. Your smart account smart account is a smart contract which will pay for the gas. So protocols have actually uh, made use of these latest innovations and implemented in their products so that they can solve everything for the users for onboarding is the main thing that has improved a lot from the last 2 years. And the next 2 years, if you see, that will improve significantly so that users don't need to worry about which chain they are using and which wallets they are using. They can just do the transactions from their mobile phones using their biometrics.
Wow, yeah, that's exciting to think about from onboarding perspective. I can see how important that is. Well, let me ask you this one next, and maybe this could be our last question. But when it comes to the number of L1s, do you think that we're going to keep seeing more and more L1s, or do you think like it's just going to get pruned and thinned out now, especially now that there's so much happening on Bitcoin? So, what are your thoughts on L1s? Are they going to continue growing? And even with L2s, like it's kind of hard to imagine infinite growth, but maybe we will see that. Maybe there's just going to be everyone trying to innovate and do something new. My intuition is that we're going to see some thinning out of the herd, right? We're going to see some rise to the top, and then they'll take more and more share.
I feel there'll be more blockchain L1s as well, because if you see, the most of the blockchains or L2s are limited to EVM. Because of the limitations of the EVM, they want to explore the other VMs like alt VMs, how Movement Labs is doing, and Say Network is using different VM. So they don't want to build an L2 on the same EVM, which has some limitations. Uh, the new L1s which are building, they are using the different virtual machine for scaling the blockchain network. They are so even when it come even if the users wants to learn new programming language, it's okay. But we want to scale the blockchain so that uh, you don't need to wait for a few seconds to transaction gets to get the transaction finalized. So there will be new L1s with the new virtual machines, and the protocols also will be developed on these new L1s.
Okay, yeah, that's good feedback too. Good wisdom there, because like I said, intuitively, it feels like it would be. Well, I mean, that's just my first thought is that there's already like the solidified L1 landscape, but anyone can build a new L1 depending on new use cases. So I guess that makes that makes more sense for it to keep growing based on just needs, right?
Yeah. So because there is scalability limitations with using the Ethereum virtual machine, that's where people are starting to build new virtual machines like alt VM and say is using different VM say network. So they are okay with building a different programming language with different virtual machines. The main focus is they want to scale the blockchains, scalability or TPS. That's what users care about because they don't want to wait for few seconds to get this transaction finalized. Transactions have to be instant, and obviously security is also a main thing when developing these different virtual machines on different L1s. Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. Let's go to L2s and specifically stacks now. What are your thoughts on where stacks sits now um, in the L2 landscape? And then what are your thoughts on the Nakamoto upgrade? challenges to get there, and then what kind of problems that's going to solve.
Yeah, Stacks have been following the L2 landscape of the Bitcoin ecosystem, and Stacks and a few protocols have good volume locked and good ecosystem they have built around them. So with Nakamoto upgrade, there will be huge scalability for the stacks. And I see a lot of protocols will be developed on the stacks ecosystem as well. And I'm expecting a lot of volume or uh, TPS also gets scaled with the Nakamoto upgrade. So that's where our next focus is on stacks. We want to tap the stacks ecosystem as well, where sta- Ethereum or Solana guys can directly do the cross-chain swap to the stacks blockchain. Even the Cosmos ecosystem, and we want to bring that liquidity to the stacks. So we will be enabling that Solana to stacks bridge in a couple of weeks. Obviously, I'm in talks with Alex Bridge, which we are integrating to bring in this cross-chain swap to the stacks.
Wow, that's so exciting. I know this is we're in August now, so I think by the end of the month we're supposed to be in a Nakamoto world. So hopefully things are going to be moving a lot faster. Since you're so knowledgeable about L2s, what are some of the other Bitcoin L2s that you are most impressed by?
Merlin, we have seen a lot of volume locked in the Merlin chain, or the other protocols also being developed on the Merlin chain, and the Bitlayer and Bitcoin network are the other two L2s. I'm constantly keeping an eye on how these guys are building their ecosystem, how they are differing in their uh, uh, respective blockchains, and BEVM is also one more thing, L2s. So these are the main protocols I've been focusing on since a couple of months. And so that's where we have been prioritizing few protocols. Okay, which one to add the support to our BitArch, Stacks and Merlin and Bitlayer, B-Square network. So we do have the roadmap for the L2s for the next couple of months, and we want to do some partnerships with the prominent blockchains and bridges. We want to do some marketing campaigns as well. A lot of exciting things pending in the upcoming months from the BitArch.
Wow, well, you've been so gracious answering all of my questions. I've been throwing you questions left and right, and you've had really great answers for all of them. If let me throw it to the audience. If anyone wants to come up and ask any questions, please be my guest. But I feel like we're getting toward the end of the hour. Bhargav, is there any other thing that you want to talk about with BitArch, or anything that we should be aware of?
Yeah, sure. BitArch currently supports Ethereum to Bitcoin, Solana to Bitcoin, and Atom to Bitcoin, where we are bringing the other ecosystem to Bitcoin networks. So slowly we are moving or adding the support for the Bitcoin L2s, starting with the Stacks, Merlin, Bitlayer, Bitcoin network. So we will be onboarding them the next couple of months. Then the other aspect is we are building the chain abstraction SDK, where other protocols and wallets can actually integrate this SDK for simplifying this cross-chain experience in their products. So what the main agenda of the BitArch is uh, moving this liquidity across the Bitcoin ecosystem seamlessly, because Bitcoin has a lot of liquidity, and other ecosystem also have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
liquidity. But movement of this liquidity should be seamless. That's what our main agenda is. So we are focusing one step at a time. So we have built the bridge where that does exactly the same, and we are the next step is we want to bring in that chain abstraction to the bridge. The other step is we want to make others to use this chain abstraction SDK, so that whatever we are building, so that they can also build on their platforms.
Love it. Well, clearly you're just a master of this space. Once again, you've had such great eloquent knowledgeable answers for all of my questions. So I want to thank you again so much for coming on. Let's make sure that everyone knows where to go. So bitarch.io and following you on X here. Make sure everyone give Bhargav a follow here. So thank you again for joining us. Anything else you want to say before we close out?
Thanks all for joining this space. Hopefully you got to know about the BitArch, and please keep an eye on the announcement, or please follow BitArch so that you don't miss any announcement whatever we are planning to do in our roadmap.
Fantastic. All right. Thanks again, Bhargav. Really appreciate having you here. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Remember, Leather is your gateway to everything Bitcoin, from DeFi to stacks, ordinals, runes, stamps, NFTs, and interoperability, and trustless swaps, and cross-chain liquidity, and everything else. So visit our blog and Learn Center at leather.io. You can find loads of helpful crypto content on our YouTube channel. And with that, I'll say have a great day, or GM, depending on where you are in the Bitcoin world. And I'll see you next time. Stay safe and stack sats.